seen the video I did a couple years ago on archiving old Apple U-matic tapes. If you didn't, there's an info card on the top of your screen at this moment. Well, when I was cleaning up my server, I realized that I never shared the following fragment. So here it is. Enjoy.
If we put in a certain amount of work today, what happens out in 1984? What are our costs and what are our profits? And the tool we use for doing that is a planning and calculating tool that we call VisiCalc, a program for the Apple computer. Now, VisiCalc gives us an electronic worksheet. It's very wide, 64 columns wide. It's 254 rows long, and within those rows and columns we can define relationships just as we would with paper and pencil. Let's begin. We take the cursor in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, move it back and forth, up and down, find ourselves a starting place. And the first thing we want to do is we want to define ourselves the years 1981, 1982, 1983, 1984, like so. And our business, of course, starts with sales of products in these years. Without sales, nothing else happens at all. And so we begin with sales, and in 1981, by dint of great hard work, fantastic amount of effort, working days and nights and weekends, we think that we can sell $800,000 worth of whatever it is we're going to manufacture. And so there's our first year, 1981. And what happens in 1982 and 1983, 1984? One thing we know for sure is inflation right now is about 15%. That means we have to grow at 15% just to stay even, right? And we don't want to stay even. No point in being in business to stay even. So what we want to do is to make our business grow. Let's say that we could make our business grow about 35% a year. That is, in 1982, sales are going to be what they were in 1981 times 1.35, or a little over $1 million, $1,080,000. And what's more, we're going to keep that growth rate going through 1983, 1984. We're going to stay at 35% a year. So what we'll do then is we'll copy what we did in 1982 from 1983 out here to 1984, and we'll copy not the number, the 1080 that we got in 81, we'll copy the way we got that number in 1981. That is, we'll copy the growth rate that got us there. We'll copy relatively like so. So here is our sales figure for 1982, 1983, 1984. Now this business isn't any different from any other manufacturing business, and so in order to sell something, we have to spend a little money. We have to spend money to make money because we have a cost of goods. So the next thing we enter in is cost of goods. And in our manufacturing business, we're quite efficient. So our cost of goods, our manufacturing cost, runs about 25% of our sales. That is to say, in 1981, our cost of goods is going to be sales times about 25%, like so. Furthermore, it's always going to be 25%. 1982, 1983, 1984. We're going to keep that same cost factor going through the next 3 years. So we're going to copy what we did in 1981 from 1982 out here through 1984, and again we're going to copy not the number itself, not the $200,000, but we're going to copy the way we got the number. We're going to copy relatively like so. So here we have 1982, 1983, 1984, our cost of goods. Now, we've got our basic parts of the business equation. Let's draw a line for ourselves. We'll copy the line from 1981 through 1984. And in this very simple model of a business, after we take our sales, we subtract out what it cost us to make them, what's left goes in our pockets, and it's the profit. Let's put in profit. After all, that's why we got into this business in the first place. And the profit is simply going to be sales minus cost of goods, like so. And it's always going to be sales minus cost of goods, 1982, 1983, 1984. So we simply copy from 1982 all the way out here to 1984, and again we copy relatively. And now we have defined on our little electronic spreadsheet 4 years worth of sales in cost of goods, and what's left is our profit. Now all this we could have done with paper and pencil. What is it that makes a computer worth $2,000 more as a solution to this problem? That's the magic of the electronic worksheet, that there's an answer, and the answer is, once you've built up the equations, once you've defined all the relationships among the variables, they stay there. You can save them, you can bring them back, you can edit them, and most important, you can use them to play what if. What if one of those numbers changes? What happens using all the relationships we've established so far? Let's take a look and see how it works. We have our electronic worksheet here, and we're going to fold it in half so that we can see each end. So over here, we have sales in 1981. We're going to come over here and make a vertical window, just like so. And on the right-hand side of the vertical window, we'll move our worksheet so that we see 1983 and 1984. Now, we've been in our business for a while. We've had a good time at it. We've worked hard. We see what our profits are in 1984. But what if, back in 1981, by dint of even greater effort, working not only days and nights, but weekends and holidays and so on, what if at that first year, instead of selling $800,000 worth of material, what would happen if we sold $1 million? What would happen to the profits in 1984? Now, with a question like that, you know what you'd normally do. You'd reach in your pocket, you'd pull out a calculator, you'd grind through all the equations again, and when you're all done, a minute later, or an hour later, or a day later, if you hadn't made any mistakes, you could see what the answer was. And if you changed the numbers again, you could try it again, and you could play what if. But on paper, we never do that because it's just too much work. Let's see how much work it is here. We'll come back to 1981, $800,000 worth of sales, and let's make those sales $1 million. As soon as I press the return key, the enter key for our VisiCalc program, instantly all those equations work for us, and in 1984, as we enter our new number, our profit goes from 1.47 million to 1.84 million, and it happens just like that. That's the magic of an electronic programming system, an electronic worksheet. All the variables, all the calculations just happen. You don't have to think about them, so you can spend your time thinking about what the numbers mean and what the relationships mean, and not about how you actually generate them. So now we've got 1981 through 1984, and we'll bring ourselves back to a single window on the screen. We have the essence of a report on our business. Now it's time to show it to somebody, our banker, a prospective partner, someone. And to do that, we need to present a printout, a printed report of what we've done. So what we do is we come back to our worksheet, insert a row or two to give ourselves some room, and then we generate a nice, neat title. And in this case, our title might be ABC Company Financial Forecast. There's the title of our report. And now let's insert an extra column over on the left-hand side so that we get a neatly centered report. Now we're ready to print. At this point, we bring our cursor up to the upper left-hand corner of what it is we want to print, our electronic worksheet, and we put in the printing command. We say print, and the computer says print to where, to what slot number. In most Apple installations, that slot number is 1. That's where we put in our printer. Then it says, if you want to start printing up here at this upper left-hand corner, where do you want to stop printing? Where's the lower right-hand corner of the worksheet you want to print? And so we simply move our cursor down as far as we want to print, and then over to the far lower right-hand corner, right here under 1984. That's how much of this much, much larger invisible worksheet we'd like to put on paper. And we do it just like this. So now we have a neatly printed report that describes our company. The sales for 4 years, the cost of goods, the profit margins. We have a report that can present our view, a proposal of what's going to happen to the company. And now we can exercise our electronic worksheet. We can say, what if the cost of goods doubles? What if we only sell half as much as we thought we would? What if we sell twice as much as we thought we would? We can play what if, and we can use our intelligence and our insight into the business to think about what these things mean, as opposed to spending our time just cranking numbers out again and again. And once we've defined these variables, other people who know very little about our business, clerks and secretaries and partners and bankers, all those people can use our equations, can use the work we've put in, and can make those equations work for them, and they can also play what if. So once we define the way a forecast is generated, other people can forecast for us. Once we define the way a department budget goes together, other people can use that budget and generate useful results. Just the way you can walk up to your car, sit in the car, turn it on and drive away without understanding the workings of the engine, so also someone else can come up to our electronic car, our electronic picture of a business, get in, turn the key, and drive it without really understanding how it works inside, and it doesn't matter. So we've let the computer do a machine's job, and we've freed people to do people jobs. And with a system like this, because we free people to do the jobs they do best, we make them much more efficient. We let them get insight into their own business by thinking about what the business means and not worrying about the details of proving it on paper. So when I'm selling to a small businessman, that's what's going through my mind. My product is a computer, but what the business manager is buying is insight, the ability to spend his time once and take advantage over and over and over again of the insight that he gets by playing what if with his business. What I'm selling him is a way to become a better manager.
Very good. Real good. Now you see how smoothly this cuts together.